When judgment is being placed on someone in a hard situation, the quote, "Do not judge someone until you have walked a mile in their shoes," commonly comes up. This quote, of course, is never to be taken literally. It is a metaphor saying, before someone should criticize another, they need to consider their life, and not just their situation. Thousands of non-American citizens travel through the southern United States border each year. There may be hundreds of reasons why individuals and families are making this trip, but if entering illegally, the fate is the same for them all. In recent news, the way the Trump administration and federal government is handling the illegal immigrants has become public. The recent changes to the federal immigration policy have become national news, and the way that American citizens react to these changes quite literally affect thousands of people. It is vital that before placing judgment or blame on anyone, the facts of the story are considered. Although it is easy to assume that along with illegal immigrants come danger to families and jobs, that is not taking years-old advice into consideration. As American citizens, we are truly lucky to be born in the United States. There are millions of people, though, that are not as fortunate as us, yet are still humans just like we are. These immigrants need to be treated as just that. They are not animals, they are humans, and they need our help. In May, the Trump administration issued a directive to prosecute all unauthorized border crossers in federal court. This caused detention facilities, children's shelters, and the legal system to become overwhelmed. The criminal processing also caused systematic separation of parents and children. Criminal charges meant extra paperwork and a huge flood of cases in the legal system. Some offices handle more than 1,000 cases per week, and they are running out of places to hold people. This has caused huge problems for both those crossing illegally and the federal government. There are many different opinions on the immigration issue, but the facts remain the same for each. As it is for many current issues, it is vital that as many facts that are known as possible are found, and then opinions of the issue are formed. In May 2018, a Department of Justice policy was issued, named the Zero Tolerance Policy. On May 6, 2018, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced that the Department of Justice would be partnering with the Department of Homeland Security, and all individuals crossing the United States border without authorization would be prosecuted. It was noted that this new policy is aimed at deterring unlawful border crossings. It was also stated that if parents did not want to be separated from their children, they should not bring them across the border illegally. Although that is understandable, it was also noted that they would be taking cases as humanely as possible until prosecution is at a 100% rate. What does as humanely as possible mean? Shouldn't all humans be treated humanely no matter what? The administration did speak about asylum-seeking immigrants. An asylum seeker is a person who leaves his or her own country and goes to another country for protection. The administration stated that those who are entering the United States border and presenting themselves as asylum seekers would not have the zero-tolerance policy used against them. This means that asylum-seeking immigrants should not be separated from their children or held unlawfully. The administration, though, has been holding a number of asylum seekers in immigration detention and reportedly have been separating some of them from their children. So, even people who are attempting to escape danger are being punished. For non-asylum-seeking immigrants, they are also being held in detention centers. Since the new zero-tolerance policy, it is almost guaranteed that families who are crossing illegally will be separated from their families. Children are being separated from their families at the borders as a direct result of the zero-tolerance policy. The policy requires criminal prosecution for those that enter the United States without proper documentation and discourages the practice of releasing immigrants while their immigration cases are pending. There is no federal regulation that mandates the separation of families. This happens because it is required that adults are held in either immigration or criminal jails. There are laws, though, against holding children in adult criminal detention facilities. This means that the adults and their children cannot legally be held in the same facilities. Therefore, the child is taken from the parent and placed in the custody of the Department of Health and Human Services, and they are held in those facilities. Considering there are no legal limitations against separating children from their families, the Trump administration is claiming that it is necessary. On June 15th, a Department of Homeland Security official told reporters that 1,995 children were separated from 1,940 adults in 6 weeks. Adding in the separations that occurred in June, more than 2,000 children have been separated from their families. Pediatricians, psychologists, and other health experts from around the United States are strongly against the separation of children from their parents. They're claiming that it causes serious harm and has long-lasting impacts on their children's physical and mental health, development, and well-being. Some studies have even shown that separation may result in neurological damage. Family separation has experienced huge debate from both parties. More than a dozen United States senators sent a letter to Attorney General asking for a halt to the zero-tolerance policy. They wanted a pause on family separation to allow Congress time to address the issue. On June 20th, in response to the uproar, President Trump issued an executive order to address the issue of family separation. The order states that it is the policy of this administration to maintain family unity, including by detaining alien families together where appropriate and consistent with law and available resources. The order requires that there is no longer separation between children and their families, but did not address whether or not the children already separated would be reunited. As for the July 26 deadline, the government announced it has reunited 1,820 of the 2,551 children with parents or sponsors. This includes 1,442 children who were reunited in the United States and 378 others who were released under other appropriate circumstances. The administration then deemed the remaining 711 separated children ineligible to be reunited. This includes the children of the 431 parents who had been deported. There are several different views to the issue, the uproar against family separation, and how the administration handled the push against family separation. The zero-tolerance policy was extremely harsh. Although the Trump administration made claims saying it was to prevent unlawful border crossing and to keep families from attempting to cross the border, it simply caused harm. Thousands of people who are simply trying to reach a better life are being treated as criminals. Over 2,000 children are severely affected, possibly for the rest of their lives. Protecting our country is important, but at what cost to other humans? At what point has more damage than good been done? Thinking back to the quote I mentioned earlier, consider yourself in the shoes of these people. Consider having to leave your life simply to reach a better one. Then make a stand. Become a voice for the hundreds of people that do not have one. Do not be afraid to stand up for what is right. As Cassandra Duffy said, the beauty of standing up for what is right is that others will see you standing and stand as well.